I've shared several obituaries lately from the Beaver Herald in Oklahoma, as they are written so beautifully. But this one completely broke my heart. The following excerpts are taken from the obituary published on January 12, 1905. With a heart breaking with sorrow, and a soul filled with grief which only the bereaved can realize and understand, we attempt this week to write the obituary of the sweet little 18-month-old daughter and only child of Mr. and Mrs. W. H. Thomas, and who was also a niece of the editor of the Herald. The baby was taken sick with bronchial pneumonia, and on Wednesday, December 21st, and succumbed to the ravages of the disease on Saturday morning at 2 o'clock, January 7th. In spite of the best of medical attention and careful nursing, our little darling seemed doomed to go, and by her going tore the heartstrings of a loving and indulgent father and mother and other relatives who wanted to keep her so bad and to whom she was such a comfort and delight. During her short existence, her little life had become so entwined about the hearts of those who were near and dear to her, that to give her up seemed almost more than human heart could bear. All the fond hopes and anticipations, which loving hearts had held in store for her, and plans for her happiness for years to come, were blotted out when the grim reaper called. Just why our little darling should be called away when her life was so dear to so many is hard to understand. And the fact that nothing was denied our darling during her short stay with us is the only consolation that we can find in our sorrow. Everything was done that could be done, and now we must bow to the inevitable and look to a higher power for strength to bear our burdens. While words of sympathy could not restore our baby, the many loving deeds and kindnesses bestowed by sympathizing friends did much to tide the broken hearts over anguish, which without such help would have been much harder to bear. We can best express our gratitude to all by wishing for them the same loving kindness when the dark hour of affliction, which must come to all, enters their hearts and homes. Trudy Caroline Thomas was born in Beaver, Oklahoma, on June 17, 1903, and died January 7, 1905, aged 1 year, 6 months, and 20 days. Death was due to pneumonia, which terminated fatally after a lingering illness of 17 days. During the entire time of her illness, the little one never showed any signs of suffering, and only a short time before death was her life despaired of. The end came quickly and quietly. Funeral services were held at the home of J.R. Thomas Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock and were conducted by Captain J.D. Niles. The services were brief but impressive, after which the little form was laid to rest in the Beaver Cemetery in the presence of relatives and a host of sorrowing friends.